Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome back. I'm Gavin Weber, Chief Curd Nerd, and hopefully I will be able to answer your questions during this episode of Ask the Cheeseman 343. Thanks for joining me today. It's lovely to see so many people in the chat. Let me just fix that and see what we're doing. There we go. All good. Alrighty. What have I got to say today? Lots of stuff. Thank you so much to all the financial members and patrons. Without your support, we wouldn't have a show. New YouTube member today is Fiona Anderson. Thank you, Fiona, for joining. And you get some extra perks there. And also, thank you to Mervyn for signing up on Patreon. And thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members. Like I said, without your support, the show wouldn't go on. And it really does help. Honestly, these days YouTube monetization doesn't work as well as it used to, and to have a career in this game, it's a little bit costly. Anyway, moving right along. Having said that, the videos this week was brine, and you would have seen that. And we actually have a question already, and let me just get the question up. This is from Michelle. And the brine video, you can see, just go down on the channel, have a look, do that after, obviously. Michelle says, I never thought of using whey brine. Does it store long, or is it best used fresh? Is it only for certain cheeses? Yes. So, as far as being used for only certain cheeses, yeah, it's normally used for cheeses like feta and other fermented cheeses. Other pickled cheeses. So that's the go for that. So cheeses like, well, feta, of course. Domiati is another one. And there's a couple other that I can't quite remember, but those two stick in my mind the most, that are stored in a 10% brine for a long time. So remembering that the whey brine needs to be stored in the kitchen fridge at 4 degrees Celsius. And we've got a curd nerd light flashing. I will get to that super chat in a second. Thank you very much. But yeah, the whey brine must be stored in the fridge. So absolutely do that. Whereas the normal brine made from water that has been boiled needs to be stored at 13 degrees. It's best stored at 13 degrees Celsius, as well as the cheese in the brine when you're brining it. Okay, that out the way. Now, the other video that I'm working on currently is orange and walnut kefili. Let me just bring up the Trello board for the day. We've got a couple of ideas going on here. So, like I said, video editing at the moment is the orange and walnut kefili. And thanks to Shauna for that addition. She's given me some tips around how to create this from my normal smoked smoky paprika kefili. And I made some modifications to the recipe, sanitized all the ingredients before they went in to make it safe, and then changed the technique a little bit at the end for maturation, whereas I have vacuum packed this one instead of letting a natural rind form. And you can imagine why, because the rind of the cheese, and you can't really see, can I make this bigger? No, the picture doesn't go any bigger. The cheese itself has, the rind is compromised because of the walnuts, so you could get some sort of infection in there if you'd created a natural rind. So vacuum packing or waxing is the way to go for this cheese. Now, the next cheese in the chute, as far as I can tell, is going to be either Valence or Is it not there? I thought I put it... There it is, Narina. Dave has sent me a recipe. So that's fantastic, and I'm going to have a look at that one. It was co-created... I think it was... He mentioned in his email that Jim Wallace had a hand in this recipe. And, it's a... I think it's an Italian cheese it's a goat's cheese that is has ash on the outside and has a bloomy white mould. And also I've got there making good milk from skim milk and then Valence, and we'll get to those. So very soon. And the Blue de Buffalo, which will be expensive to make because the buffalo milk is $10.99 Australian for 2 litres, and I think I need 8 litres. So we'll go from there. I'll take it out of the slush fund and we'll go from there. Anyway, that's the current state of play as far as videos go. And I got some other ideas. Well, you might have seen up here, I don't know if you can read that, but it says how I enhance my veggie patch for retirement. Is another one that I'm planning. I'm actually thinking of branching out on some food gardening videos as well, which it's mainly because I'm not shooting as many cheese making videos. I feel I need to fill the void, but my other passion in life, for those who don't know, is growing my own food. So we have an amazing veggie patch that I've created, so that should be good fun. So I'm hoping that should be good. Now, also, I was approached by the owner of Fromaggio, which is a cheese-making tool, a bit like a KitchenAid, but on steroids for cheese making. Now, I haven't entered into any brand deals or sponsorship. He said he wants to send me one for review, so I'm going to do that because I want to test it out. I think it has its place, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, he's going to send me a $1,100 Fromaggio machine, and we're going to see what I can do. So the title for that video, I'm hoping, will be I made 4 cheeses using the Fromaggio. Here is what I learned. So it'll be an honest review, and we'll go from there because it's not sponsored. Okay, yeah, and we'll see what happens. Right, anyway, back to me. Oh, we are back to me. What am I talking about? We'll get to the super chat. What the heck is that? Before we move on any further, is there anything else I want to talk about? Yeah, we'll talk about the super chat first. Which cheese goes best with a dark roast coffee? Good question. Not a band account with a Pooh Bear there. As in, you've got a coffee like this, merch, merch.cheeseman.tv. I'll do an LTT store thing. Just trying to think. Oh, any cheese goes with coffee. I love it, especially the nice gooey bloomy rind ones. That's my favourite to have with the coffee. Things like camembert brie, that sort of stuff. Anything very mild, creamy, perfect. I wouldn't put coffee into your cheese because it is acidic and it will go bitter. So don't do that at all. Coffee rub on the outside at a pinch. Make sure you sanitize that. But yeah, that's what I do with coffee. But thanks for the $2 US. Appreciate it. Okay. What was the other thing I was going to talk about before I said g'day to everybody? So there has been a change to my video release policy for those who haven't seen. Where the heck is it? I'm trying to find it. My policy. Gav, where did you put it? Oh, here we are. Sorry, Curd Notes. A bit of a brain hiccup there. Back to the second monitor. So, One of the regular things I do weekly is do a post. Well, I do lots of posts, so you can find that on the channel page under posts. On the mobile, on your mobile, if you've got the mobile YouTube app, you will have, it'll be in the feed, it'll comes in the feed. So, change the policy as far as videos go. Can I just make this bigger? Alright, so let me just read it out verbatim to you. It says, "G'day Curd Nerds, I've decided to change my video publishing policy. All cheeses will be fully matured and tasted before the video tutorial, with the included taste test, before the video tutorial is released. This will ensure that any process errors are detected before release and that safety comes first, as it always should. Please excuse the lack of video content on my channel in the short term, whilst I make these changes and build up a backlog of cheeses. In the meantime, I will endeavour to create and update technique videos to fill the gaps in the schedule like today's brine video. Thank you for your understanding and support moving forward as I make these changes." Now, these changes came about because I had a discussion with the lovely ladies over at Learn to Make Cheese, and we had a discussion about some of my videos and some of the issues that they were having themselves in the the Facebook group, people with late blown cheese and stuff like that. And it was due to some of the videos that I had created. And look, I admit when I've made certain mistakes. So what I've actually done is I've privated, which means that you guys can't see it, privated certain videos. So some that are prone to late blowing if you don't do them correctly. So I have made private the following videos: the Emmentaler, Edam, Howder, the Gruyere, smoked flavoured Gouda, the Tom, the Gouda with a Dutch cheese press. Where else? The Charus, I think that's how you say it, and the Baby Swiss. So those were all the process wasn't quite right. During the washing of the curds, I didn't actually nail it properly, and there may be some contamination issues if you follow the recipe. There is a slight risk. So just make sure that, well, any of those recipes, I am going to remake all of them over the period of the year, I hope. So I'm trying to fit it into the schedule. So those recipes have been privated. Please don't use them if you have already. If you've had success with them and you haven't had any late blowing, then the cheese will be fine. But yeah, it's cautionary, if that makes sense. So I'd rather do that than any of you get sick or have issues with the cheese or waste money on milk. You know, it's not cheap. Anyway, so that is what I have done. So that's my release policy. So I'm going to fully make the cheese, age it out, do the taste test, combine the video into one, and then release it. Well, if it's okay, release it to the general public, and then create the recipe card and have that up on the website for everybody to pay for if you want to. So there you go. So that's all there. Now, the brine video had an error in it. There was a risk that it could have been contaminated. Now, the reason was because, remember, I used in the old video, if you have ever seen it, there was a raw egg. I used a raw egg to test the density of the salt of the brine solution. Now, things have changed in the 14 years since I made that first brine video, that salmonella can be present on the raw egg and it can transfer to the brine. So don't use a raw egg to float into the brine, which is why I made changes to the brine video and released it and enhanced it, because there was two types of brine and I never covered the second one in a specific video. So that's why we've released the brine video. There we go. So moving forward, that's the sort of thing that's going to happen on the channel. Right, moving right along. The next thing I want to talk about, yes, is Veggie Patch. So I've got a great Veggie Patch. Can I bring any pictures up of it? Let me just have a quick look. See if I've got them on the server. Where are we? Veggie Patch, Gav. Veggie. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let me find one of the new Veggie Patch. Oh, this may be difficult because. All right. Let's bring this one up. It's a classic. Excuse me. I'm laughing because it's a great photograph. So let's bring up that on the second monitor. There we go. So what I've done, I've transformed my Veggie Patch from a low sleeper, railway sleeper based beds, which I would have to get on my knees and bend over and really hurt myself. And in the last, well, since my back injury in July last year, I've slowly, over 6 months, built 5 garden beds, put them in place with help, and filled them up with the soil from the old garden beds with help. So I know this channel is, exclusively cheese, but I want to take this channel to the next level. I was going to put all this food content on the Gavin and Kim channel, but I've had a brain fart since then, and think that it might be good to put it on this channel. Anyway, so I've got an abundant. This is only part of the garden, and the doggos there eating tomatoes. They love tomatoes. Bonnie and Hamish there. So this is my plan moving forward. I'm going to test it with a couple of videos. Look, if they don't get any views and don't work, and the algorithm doesn't do what it needs to do, then I'll put them on the Gavin and Kim channel and continue to grow that one instead. So that's my plans moving forward. If you like veggie gardening, let me know in the chat and get an indication of that sort of stuff. Okay. Now I have been. That's all. That's everything. That's all I wanted to say. What time is it? Oh goodness, it's 17 past, and I haven't even said g'day to everybody. Thank you so much to everybody. The first person I think that was there was Patricia. G'day, Patricia, and to Donna. Hello, Donna, and Shauna, of course, in warm Tasmania. Michelle. Hello, Michelle. And we got Paul. Hello, Paul. David. Storm Raven. And we got Tracy, cheeseknees.com. Jeffrey in Adelaide. And we've got... Who else is there? Goat. G'day, Goat. Matthew in the UK. Hello, Matt. Robert and another Jeffrey, spelt with a G. Thanks, Jeffrey. T-Dog, Robert, and... KT Tempo, who else we got there? Davo and Jose, g'day. Cool Cat, Mervyn, g'day Mervyn, lovely to see you, mate. Dominic and Persnickety, welcome. Dental Man in Germany, g'day mate. We got Kian, I hope I pronounced that okay. Lisa and where else? Who else we got there? Randy and Molly Brown. Thank you very much. Alrighty, so that's everybody. I hope that's everybody. Thank you so much for joining me after my little bit of a rant there, and policy update. Alrighty, so we do have some other questions, so let's get to them before the gallery at 30 minutes past the hour. Do I only have any questions early on the chat? No, that was the brine one from Michelle. I got that. We've got another one from Dominic here. Dominic says, my first purchase of cultures came with 4 sachets per kit. The instructions call for 1 sachet per gallon of milk or 4 sachets for up to 10 gallons. Is it okay to use 1 sachet for 2? Right, let me just read this again. Calls for 1 sachet per gallon of milk. I'm afraid if you for 2 gallons, okay, 2 gallon, 1 sachet. Depends on how much culture there is. I don't know what the kit is you purchased. If you can give me some more information, Dominic, that would be fantastic. Let me see. Yeah, that may be difficult. I don't know. So the answer to the question is, I don't know what the dosage is. I don't know what the cultures are. What the brand is. It'd be difficult. 1 sachet for 2 gallons. No, I would use 2 sachets for 2 gallons. So they're 1 sachet per gallon. So use 2 sachets for 2. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what you'd do. Anyway, I hope that answers your question. I don't think it's quite right, but anyway. Persnickety says, that was my concern with my Cotswold. Thought of a bit of natural aging at first, but it's not knitting fully sealed the hang on. But it wasn't knitting fully sealed the vacuum seal deal. Yeah, indeed. So when in doubt, when you haven't, rind isn't fully closed, especially if you're doing things like cheddars and stuff that you just can't get the rind to close because of either the temperature or the curds are too firm, too much rennet, that sort of stuff. All the natural things that rinds don't close. Then it's best to vacuum pack those cheeses because you don't want the rind integrity to be compromised and get anything stuck in there. So anyway, and the dried chives poking out. Yes, that's a good thing. Alrighty. Tracy says the Fromaggio is not a good idea, Gav. You can't clean it properly. Be very careful getting in bed with them. They don't understand cheese making. Indeed, and that's why I've only accepted a review, Tracy. I'm not going to do a sponsored deal. They're not paying me any money. And if I don't like the machine, I'll send it back. But yeah, I want to test it because I want to bust some myths as well to see if it's worth the money, which at a price tag of over $1,000 Australian, I'm not sure it is, because you buy $1,000 worth of stuff from my shop, and you'll have more equipment, more cultures, and all that sort of stuff, and same as your shop. So as far as value for money goes, I don't think it's probably worth it. But anyway, moving right along, I'm not getting in bed with them, if that, just to set that clear. I want to test the machine because I've had multiple questions from curd nerds on what is it like. I don't know because I've never had one and never tested it. So that's what I'm going to do. Alrighty. Lisa says, hello, I actually made it during a live show. Welcome, Lisa, to the live show. Goat says, how do I fix a jello like parmesan? I don't quite understand what you're talking about. Is the curd set weak? It would be the first question. And I would need a lot more information than that to even begin to diagnose that. Sorry, Goat. T-Dog says, how does the casein to whey protein ratio affect the texture and aging of a washed rind cheese? So the protein to whey ratio. So washed rind cheeses are typically quite moist. They have a lot more moisture in them than a semi-hard or harder cheese does. So washed rind, you're washing with brevibacterial linens is my assumption. They have to be a lot moister than, and the curds have to be, I'm just trying to think of some examples. The curds are cut rather large to hold the moisture in. So how does it affect the aging of the cheese? The moister the cheese is, the quicker it becomes gooey on the inside from the activity of the ripening culture, brevibacterial linens. The drier the cheese, the longer it takes for the brevibacterial linens to make the paste gooey. and break down those proteins. So hopefully that answers your question. Kian says, what is my favourite cheese to have with pastries? Pastries are light and delicate, so we're talking like Danish pastries, those sort of things. Yeah, once again, the mould-ripened camembert gooey cheeses are some of the best to have with those sorts of things. Anyway, moving right along. Persnickety says, those with questions, be sure to add 3 cues that Gavin can actually see them easily. Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Next question is from Lisa. Says, I was just flipping my cheese in the cheese fridge and noticed a touch of mould in my vacuum sealed parmesan, which is sealed. Okay, is there an extra bit to the question? No. Alright, so what you're going to have to do is remove it from the vacuum packing. You are then going to have to wipe the parmesan down with a simple brine solution. So do that, and then let that dry in the cheese cave, and then once it's touch dry, then it's probably best to then vacuum pack it again, and keep an eye on it every week like you are. And that's why we turn our cheeses weekly as well. Okay, Davo has a suggestion. Says you could do Willet Gratin series with your veggies to rival the toasted cheese sandwich videos out there. That is a good idea, because that's making cheese and veggies in together. I'm writing that down. That is a good one. Oh, lovely. I love the thank you, Curd Nerd community. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. Okay. We have another super chat. Paul's just thrown that in there. The light hasn't gone off yet, but alrighty. There we go. So, Paul says, hi Gavin, if I make an American cheese that is 800 grams, for example, should I use double the powder and water, the ratio applicable no matter what size and weight the cheese is? Yes, that's correct. So, as far as sodium citrate goes, yeah, if you're expanding the recipe, it's a bit like a cake, I suppose, for American cheese. The chemical reaction will be the same. You need to certainly up the dosage of sodium citrate and water if you're using double the amount of cheese, as I've said in my recipe. So hopefully that answers your question, Paul. Thanks for that. And there's the Curd Nerd light sign going off. Thank you for your kind $25 donation. Super chat donation. Super chat. Okay. Next question is from, if I can find it, Dental Man says, how do I find the right balance of pressure and time when pressing? Yeah, good question. So, there's a couple of objectives. When we're pressing. So when we're first pressing, we're trying to consolidate the rind of the cheese. So when we do the first press, Dental Man, we're trying to make sure that the whey simply weeps out of the mold or basket like tears. So you're looking for, when you cry, the tears roll down your face. That's what you're looking for when you're doing the first pressing. In fact, all pressings. And during that pressing, like I do multiple turnovers and stuff like that. So rotations of the cheese, take it out of the basket in the press, and we'll go from there. And I do multiple of those to consolidate the rind. We're trying to make the rind compact, so the rind protects the cheese, the inside of the cheese, as it ages. So how do you find the right balance? We make sure that when we're pressing, we know that the moisture content of the cheese, if it's high moisture, we press lightly. If it's low moisture cheeses, then we have to press them harder to consolidate together. Hope that helps you in your pressing adventures. Next question is, do we have another super chat? No, we didn't. Okay. Yeah, where is it? Randy says, oh, and that's the gallery. We'll get to that in a second. Randy says, do you ever use that double leverage Dutch press from a year or two ago? Yes, when I use bigger baskets, I use the bigger press. It works really well, and you don't have to put as much weight onto the onto the follower because of the double lever action. It reduces the amount of weight that you have to hang off the end to get the same pressing pressure. So when I'm using molds that don't fit in my little spring press, then I go straight to the double lever action one. I haven't been making cheese as much since July last year when I had my back injury, which is still slowly but surely healing, and which is the reason why the cheese videos aren't as much. All right, we're on to the gallery now, is what we're doing. Bonnie, calm down. Alrighty, so we're on to the gallery now. Let me just bring that up in all its glory. Here we go. The gallery is brought, before we start, of course, the gallery is brought to you by you, the Curd Nerds, and yeah, send these in and we show them on the show on Sundays. So the first one is from Jeff Shoot. I think that's how you pronounce it. Thank you, Jeff. Says, hi Gavin, I have made 3 cheeses this week. The first 3 photos are yesterday's cheese and the Christmas fruit cheese. This is the second time that I've made double both sorry, I'll start again. This is the second time I have made them. I doubled both recipes because my basket is too large. The next 3 moving right along. These are the photos. So that was the curds from the yesterday's cheese. I think that's the yesterday's cheese in the press. And I do believe that this is the yesterday's cheese out of the press. All right. And then, oh no, maybe, and there is the yesterday's cheese with the, what have we got? Christmas fruit cake cheese, which needs to be eaten quickly because, yeah, it's a fresh cheese based on queso fresco. Alrighty. Jeff. And so that cheese there, I'm assuming, is the next 3 photos is for Guido's hard Italian cheese, which are made Saturday. It'll be going to the brine on Sunday for the next 12 hours in vac packing after drying for the next 3 days. I hope I got these in the right order, Jeff. there was no names on them. It was all in hexadecimal. So thanks again for making me a curd nerd. See you on Sunday's live stream. Jeff. Thanks, Jeff. All right. So the next one is from David, and I got this one early this morning. Hopefully. Oh, sorry. That's the inside of Jeff's Christmas cheesecake. It looks amazing. Fantastic looking cheese. All right, moving along. This one's from David in the UK. He says, G'day Gavin, hope all is well with you and yours. Here's a picture of my latest cheese. The first one is what I'm calling my truffle derby. It's your sage derby recipe, but instead of sage, I've mixed in a jar of truffle pesto, which gives a nice marbled look and will hopefully taste good. Yeah, so truffled pesto. I don't know what's in the truffled pesto, but I just make sure if it was a fresh jar, fantastic. Love your work. Hope it wasn't opened already. But if you've opened it just for this cheese and put it into the curds, then we'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks so much for that. The next one. Next photo is also from David, and this is a Guido's that I've made in one of the weave effect molds you showed a few months ago, so the Manchego mold. Nice. I think it looks great, and I'm going to smoke this one, and hopefully the texture will enhance the smoke effect. Best wishes from the UK. David, thank you, David, and it looks fantastic. Yeah, the Guido mold, the Manchego mold looks really good. It's a lovely basket woven pattern. So really cool. All right, the next one is from Dental Man. Dental Man says, "Hi Gavin, you can find 2 photos of my Munster cheese attached. I've been ripening it for about 7 weeks now, so I decided to cut one open. The smell is typical Munster. When you cut, there are many holes." Let's have a look. I love the geo pattern on the outside. Okay, they're mechanical. When cut, there are many holes. I think they are mechanical. Yes, you're right, because this is a gravity pressed cheese. The mixture was very creamy and the taste a bit sharp. Ultimately, I'm satisfied, but I would like to make a richer reddish colour. What is the best way to store it? Should I wrap it? Wrap the cheese in the same paper as a camembert. Thanks for your informative videos. Keep up the good work. From your Dental Man from Germany. Thank you, Dental Man. How would I make that redder? Well, the only way would be to make up a fresh brine with Brevibacterial linens in every week and wash it with bee linens, bee linens wine solution every week. That would work, and that would deepen the redder colour. Another hack is the first initial wipe. You can use a diluted annatto solution. This is what they do for the US Munster version. They use annatto on the rind. They don't particularly use bee linens. So that's what we need to do to deepen the colour. As far as storage goes, yes, use camembert paper, the white wrap, the micro perforated wrap, and that'll store it in the fridge. Is the best place for it. Using that wrap, it won't dry out, which is good. You don't want your cheese to dry out, especially these really moist Munster style cheeses. So, yeah, congratulations, well done on your cheese, Dental Man. The next photos are from Scott, and Scott says, Scott Brenneman, Brenneman, that's how you say it. Says, "Hi Gavin, here are 2 pictures of the same small wheel of peppercorn cow fort." Right, so he's made a cow's milk roquefort, and it's got peppercorns in it. Okay. Unusual, but nice. All right, that's a good looking cheese. All right, and there's the cheese before he's cleaned it off, and I think the mature cheese is there by the looks of it. But yeah, good looking cheese. I think it'll turn out unusual to have peppercorns in a blue cheese. So yeah, congratulations, Scott. That looks really good. I like that a lot. I think that's all of the gallery today. Thank you so much for sending in those photos. How do you send in photos? Let me just see. Where is my page? You send your photos in like this. So you go to the channel page and click on this bit. Do you want to become a curd nerd? You just click there. And down here is the email address. So the email address to send any of the gallery photos and any other photos that you want diagnosed on the stream. I can't get to all of the emails that everybody sends, but the vast majority of photos will be put onto the gallery. Okay, that's fantastic. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, moving right along, shall we? Back to my head. Okay, so we've got some... Sorry, I'll just clear that. We've got some more questions, I think. Let's have a look. Lisa says, "Why would my vacuum sealed parmesan develop small dots of mold?" Because the seal's compromised. That's the only reason I can think of. Mold needs oxygen to grow. So the vacuum seal may have a slight breach in the seal. I've seen it before, even though they look sealed. there is a seal breach. So I think that that is what happened. So oxygen got in, a bit of mold spore may have been present, and has grown on the cheese. That's usually what happens. Patricia says, as an owner of 6 4x10 raised garden beds, I'll be super interested in seeing what you're up to, Gav. Thank you, Patricia. So that helps confirm, but I'll still do a test. YouTube thinks that this channel is all about cheese. Which, well, up until now it kind of has been. There's only been a couple of videos off topic, like the... Oh, let me think. I think I did a studio build one, which not many people watched. And there was a clay oven video, which people did watch. They enjoyed that, how I built the clay oven in my backyard from the clay that I dug out of the post holes for my chicken patch, which is now my studio. I don't have my studio in the chicken patch, is where it used to be, that's all. Okay. Persnickety has some advice for Lisa. Says, trapped atmosphere, it happens, unfortunately. A palmer of mine had a bit of blue in the corner, not on the cheese, just in the bag. Penicillium is very pervasive. Yes, indeed it is. Laz says, I ordered some MA 4001 culture in the mail and it took over a week to come. Any chance it is still viable? Best way to test it is alive. On the specifications for cultures, they say that the best before date includes 14 days of travel at 30 degrees Celsius. So the culture will still be viable. I send cultures all over the world and cheesemakers use them and have no problems whatsoever. So, yeah, it'll be fine. Alrighty. See Skarsden's talking in German and I can't translate it, so I'm sorry. English only, unfortunately. Dominic says, I found a great pH meter on Amazon. It works for liquids like fermenting, but also works for things like sourdough and cheese. Just be careful with some of those pH meters. If they don't have a tip that's like a pencil or a pen like that, so if it doesn't have a tip, can I... Oh, it's not going to work because my face is in the way. No, there we go. So if it doesn't have a tip, this is Tracy's pen, by the way. She sent it to me, cheeseneeds.com. Nice advertising. Anyway, if it doesn't have a tip like this, it's going to be very hard to clean. pH meters are notorious. Those ones that you test pool water and aquaponics and all sorts of things. The pH meters for lots of stuff. The tip is very hard to clean if it's not tapered like a pen like that. Actually, this week I have reached out to Hannah Instruments, talking to them about pH meters and whether I can get some wholesale for my website. They're not cheap. They're about $250 each for a good cheese making thermometer. And I trust Hannah Instruments. They're world renowned for making instruments or medical instruments and testing instruments throughout the world. So look, I've asked them for a wholesale price. Whether I get it from them is a different story. If not, I'll phone them next week. We'll see how we go. If I can get some, that's fantastic. And if I can get a brand deal, even better for this channel to bring you more content, especially one based on a pH testing meter, which is used in the dairy industry. Anyway, so yeah, just be careful of those types because cleaning them is difficult to get to make sure that there are all sorts of bugs and stuff. Matt says, culture is definitely not linear. It's something I have really struggled with when upscaling. It's a dark art, which not many will talk about. Thanks, Matt, for that information. Yeah, it isn't, because, yeah. But for small batches like what we have in the kitchen, then it is okay. Like if I make for instance, if I have a recipe that has 4 litres and I want to scale it up to 8 litres, definitely, you know, I'm only talking about a small amount of culture that I'm doubling, so you don't really have too much trouble with that. Okay, next question is from Calvinist. Says, have I tried Maya cheese? It's made over here in New Zealand and is easy to obtain locally. Maya cheese, right? Maya or Maya? Let me just have a quick look. See on the Google machine. Maya cheese, New Zealand. Maya is a Gouda. No, let me have a look. Can the second monitor come up? Here we go. So this is my question. Maya Gouda Cheese Limited. So I'm not sure. Look, do they have a website? Website. Here we go. Oh, doesn't support a secure connection. All right, so I'm not going there until they get some HTTPS. Oh, it says here, Maya Cheese. Maybe this one. There we go. Oh, it did work this time. Obviously, the link they had on their Google page. Authentic Gouda cheeses. Right, now there's the problem. My Gouda skills game is not as good as it should be, which is why I privated the washed curd cheese. This looks pretty amazing. However, I'm going to get some tutelage from Rachel in the Learn to Make Cheese group, and she has extended a hand of teaching to me to help me with my washed curd cheeses. So, Gouda being a washed curd cheese, yeah, it would be a standard Gouda recipe, but yeah, it looks amazing. I like the cumin one, which is normally known as Kaminikas, is another name for it. And a Reiku pepper Gouda that looks amazing as well, which is from the New Zealand pepper tree. Yeah, very interesting. Shop all products. What else they got? Let's have a look. They got the cumin cheese, a pepper cheese. They've got a Parmesan Old Master King of Parmesan, another Gouda, another Gouda, another Gouda. You've got sheep's milk Gouda, nice. Goat's milk Gouda. They are all the Goudas by the looks of it. Very nice indeed. Anyway, once I get my Gouda game up and running, then we'll do some of that action, I think. Next question is where the heck is it? Persinkity says, talking about blues. I think we're talking about contamination. Double leverage cheddar. Hang on, let me just find a question. Lots of discussion in the lots of discussion. Right, we do have a question from Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. Gavin, how do you prevent the dried fruit from fermenting in the cheese when it ages? I've had trouble with that before. Dried cranberries. Yes, they do ferment. So the best way to do it is to double mill the cheese when you're using dry fruit, or certainly don't age it with the fruit in it. So it has to be a fresh cheese, and by fresh cheese I mean matured under 4 weeks is the best thing to do. So there is some advice from Lisa from her book, which she wrote in consultation with some science types. So if we're looking at dried fruit. Okay, so the dried fruit should be baked at 250 Fahrenheit or 121 Celsius for 10 to 15 minutes. Use an unopened package from a trusted source. Consider adding to short-aged cheeses to minimise fermentation or spoiling. Discard any cheese that has mould growing on additives. consider using the double milling method with these additives to reduce the chance of spoilage. So most fruit cheeses have their fruit added after the cheese is matured. So things like Wensleydale, that sort of stuff. Wensleydale is a very popular one in the UK that is like that. So the pardon me. So the best thing to do is, if you do have cheese that you want to put fruit in and you want to age it out for a long time, don't put it into the cheese itself. Mature the cheese, then grate it, break it up, and then to that cheese that's been grated, you add the fruit then, and then you press it again. So you're pressing it after the fact, and that way, and then you can keep it in the fridge for a little while, not too long, couple of weeks, and then eat it. And then that will not have any mould on it, and you'll be safe as houses. There you go. Hope that answered your question. Okay. Next question is from Dominic, I think. No, we've got a super chat. No, it's not a super chat. It's a dancing pear. No, let's not call it a pear. Let's call it a mozzarella. Have a dancing mozzarella from Dominic. Where the heck is the dancing mozzarella? There we go. It's very small. There he is. Thank you so much for the $5 dancing mozzarella. Oh, good one. And we got a new member as well to the Fresh community. Lovely picture of your doggo there. And that's Stay... How do I say this? S-T-E-Y-S-T... Staypan? Oh, I hope I said that right. Sorry, but thank you so much for your Fresh membership. Alrighty, question. There was a question from Dominic. There we go. Says, I do a lot of cooking and have annatto seeds and a choti powder made from annatto, I think. Can I use these for colouring cheese, or do I need the liquid? So some seeds, the prepared solution is I buy it in. I don't make it myself from seeds, so I don't have any experience in doing this. Thank you, doggos. It's not time yet. It's close. Some of these annatto recipes, I haven't seen any reliable ones on the net where you use the seeds and make it yourself. So I'm not sure. I don't have any information for you because I've never done it myself. So sorry about that, Dominic. I can't really help there. Jeffrey has a question. Says, what's the best way to store the cheese after ripening and ready to eat? Do you wrap? Hang on, let me say that again. What's the best way to store the cheese after ripening and ready to eat? Do you wrap the cheeses, or do you store them in a plastic container? Okay, so it's best not to use cling wrap or plastic wrap. It doesn't let the cheese breathe. And we've got another super chat there. I'll get to that one in a second, Michelle. Thank you very much for that. So the best way to store cheese, I just use baking paper. So I use baking paper, wrap the cheese up like a cheese store does, and then keep it in a plastic container, sealed, and that keeps the humidity up as well. And that's the best way to store it, for up to a couple of weeks. So that works very good. So never store it in cling wrap. It just doesn't allow the cheese to breathe, whereas waxed paper or baking paper, that thick parchment sort of stuff, Jeffrey, that works the best after the cheese has been ripened. However, if you want to store it for a long time in the cheese fridge, then vacuum pack the cheese. So like this is what I do after I've done a cheese taste test, right? So I'll keep a quarter, maybe another quarter. So I'll keep a quarter. I keep 2 quarters, and then I wrap those in baking paper and then store them in the kitchen fridge, and they're usually demolished very quickly by the family. And then the other half I'll cut into quarters, and then I'll vacuum pack those 2 and put them in this container I've got in the cheese fridge, just for long-term storage until I get around to eating them. And they're usually very, very good. So there we go. Hope that answers your question, Jeffrey, in a long roundabout way. Patricia says, I think peppercorns in a blue cheese is a wonderful idea. Blues pair really nice with spicy things like peppered crackers, pepperoni, spiced honey. I'm inspired. Very good. Yes, it was a great photo from Scott. Okay, we got another question. Oh no, the super chat from Michelle. Sorry, Michelle. There we go. Let me do the light again. Thanks for a great show. Looking forward to a gardening video soon. Two. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for the $10. I appreciate it. And Jennifer says, thank you for reading that, Gavin. I never knew about double milling. Mind blown. Thank you. Super helpful. No problems at all. That's the best way to do it. Okay. Question from Patricia says, can you speak about the differences between the bloomy cheese wrapping paper and the perforated foil wrapping paper? Okay. So, uses in commercial cheeses, the white paper cheese wrap, so the white wrap, is normally used in bloomy white cheeses, and in blue cheeses, the silver wrap, which is a perforated foil type thing, which has less paper in between, so in the layers. How do I explain this? So the white wrap has more paper in between the layers to absorb a little bit more moisture, whereas the silver ones don't have as much. So that's the only difference. So the white paper is used for white mold cheeses because they have a higher moisture content, and the silver ones are used for blue molds, like smaller blue mold cheeses that you wrap. However, you'll find that most blue mold cheeses are wrapped in silver foil, and then just commercially they'll cut bits off and they'll wrap it, or they'll put them in little trays. Look like you find a lot of the gorgonzolas coming out of Italy, for us anyway, are all in these little plastic trays with a plastic thing over the top, which protects them from the elements. But yeah, as far as making, say, Petite Blue is a good example, which is a lovely little blue cheese. I would wrap that in the silver paper rather than the white paper because it has a lower moisture content than, say, the bloomy white cheeses. In a roundabout way, I hope I've answered your question, Patricia. It's the thickness of the white paper that's in between. It's like tissue. It was not tissue paper, it's white paper. All right, I think we did that one. All right, thank you very much. And another fresh member on the channel. Thank you, Laz77, for becoming a member. Appreciate it. Okay. Zombicus says, I would love to watch your gardening videos. Thank you, Zombicus. That's fantastic. That's great to know. Who else is? Mervin's also on board for gardening. Thank you very much, mate. Who else? Tracy says, Hannah are the only pH meters I recommend. They do wholesale. Excellent. Well, I'm hoping Hannah Instruments Australia do wholesale here, Tracy, and then I can get some up on the site. So that would be good. I think Paul has a question I missed. Sorry, mate. Gavin, I have a 3-year-old Romano in the cave. It smells amazing, but wondering if there's any point in aging more compared to just packing it and putting it in the fridge. That it's personal preference, Paul. If you want to age it longer in the cheese cave, then yep, do it. It has a tendency to dry out. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know how you've got it packed. But if you've got a vacuum packed and it's in the cheese cave, it'll just keep getting a more deep, rich, amazing flavour. I aged my Pecorino Romano made from sheep's milk out to 2.5 years, and that just blew my mind. It was an amazing cheese. I don't know if I go much more than that, but there's harder cheeses like that go for a lot longer. So, it's personal choice, really. Like I said, I had a double Gloucester that I aged out to 7 years. So, because I forgot about it in the back of the cheese cave, it was in some backpacking. It was perfectly fine and delicious, mind you. So, some of those hard Italian cheeses age out for a very, very long time. Okay, I think that's it for today. Thank you, everybody. Great chat, as everybody's saying there. I've got to pay the bills, of course, as you do. if you want to learn how to make cheese in a structured manner and don't want to go through all the videos, pop over to courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au. You can also pick up my 2 books, Keep Calmer, Make Cheese, and Keep Calmer, Make More Cheese, in a PDF format. So that's always good to know. Also, if you want to buy cheese making supplies here in Australia, and we do ship internationally, pop over to littlegreenworkshops.com.au and go to the cheese section. I have most stuff in stock, so ready to ship it out on Monday if you purchase today. What else? We've got merch, of course. Always got to have merch. Got to pay the bills. I've got my, here we go, what is it? This is my Talk Curdy to Me, one of my favourite mugs. And we've got aprons and all that sort of stuff as well over at the merch store. So go and check that out at merch.cheeseman.tv. All the links are down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate all of you. And thanks for all the financial support via memberships and super chats that we've had during the show. So, thanks for watching, Curtainers. I've already got the next episode live stream scheduled. I'm hoping this week to have a revamped feta video. Somebody asked me that, told me that, hey, Gav, your feta video, the cow's milk feta, the very first one I made, is dodgy as anything. Well, it's not dodgy, it's just badly filmed and was one of the very first videos I ever made. Can you remake it? I went, yes. Yes, indeed. I have footage of me making a feta, cow's milk feta. So there will be a revamped cow's milk feta that will come out this week, I'm hoping, as this week's video. Yeah, and we'll get the test veggie patch content going as well. Hopefully I'll get that done this week. So thank you, Curd Nerds, from the bottom of my heart, and I've enjoyed helping you today with your cheese making questions. Alrighty, that's all from me. Thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next time.